Welcome everybody to Living Consciously TV, coming to you live from our Denver, Colorado studios. Also, we are streaming on YouTube Live, as well as Hangouts and at consciousevolutionmedia.com. I'm your host and moderator, Coach Steve Toth, and we have a very interesting theme for everybody this evening: how to use the power of the mind to heal ourselves. And joining us here this evening, our guest cast, Chris Talia, Marie from the East Coast. Welcome to the show, Chris Talia.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to be here tonight.
Good to have you. We are happy about you being here as well. And let me introduce you for the rest of the cast for this evening. We have Jamie Lerner on the very left, joining us from that Windy City, Chicago. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
And on the right, we have Dr. Rosie Kuhn, joining us from that place where Jimi Hendrix was born. That would be the state of Washington. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
All right, so we have this awesome theme, and I was thinking about it as I said it. It's something that came to me that I want to start the show with, of course, getting some feedback from Chris Talia about this. Don't we already know how to use the power of our minds, because so many of us know how to make ourselves ill?
I love that. I love it. Yes, that's
it just
so
came
true.
to me as I said those words.
Oh, I think that's so true, Steve. I'm
Show
not
over.
sure how to go with that.
Nice work. Nice work.
We did it in 2 seconds.
Oh. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right on track, and I have an example of one of the times that a doctor predicted for me that I was always going to have this one pain because I'd hit my body with a bicycle handle when I was a kid. And until I was 25 years old, I had that pain every time it was cold or rainy. And by the way, at that time, I lived in Michigan. It was cold and rainy all the time. And I finally realized I could change that belief. And in one hypnosis session that I did on myself, I changed it, and I've never had the pain there since. So I think you're absolutely right on there.
So, just to have more clarity about this, maybe we can start the show with this. So I'm wondering, how is it? Maybe we can spend just a little time about how is it that people make themselves ill? Like, what is this thing? Because I'm getting more and more connected to, since I healed myself, I'm getting more and more connected to that all there is really just health. Sickness is something I'm thinking, and I'm beginning to believe that we make this stuff up. Not to say that sickness doesn't exist, it does, but I think we're making it up, and then we create it. We like manifest it. Does that make sense?
Certainly makes sense to me. I think we really do manifest exactly what we're focused on, and so often we're focused on that idea that we're going to get sick, or that something's going to cause us to, all of us are getting sick, like the flu is a great example. At this time of year, we hear that all the time, and I think everybody's predicting it, so we assume we're going to get sick because that's what we're focused on. So I think that's very true.
It's the same with aging, too, isn't it? That we think that we're going to age, and with aging comes decrepitiveness, illness, disease, deterioration, when it doesn't have to be that. There are people who are in their 90s that are thriving and vital because they don't buy into the thoughts of aging means deterioration.
And the whole word disease, that's what it is. It's a dis-ease. So when we have unease in our mind, we create dis-ease in our body, and the mind runs the body. And if we could get people to buy into that, I think that people would be much healthier. So the question is, how do we do that? How do we get people to buy into that?
Let me clarify that. What are you intending to have people buy into? The fact that they creating their reality that they are sick?
that the mind runs the body. So that
Oh, okay.
with our thoughts, we create dis-ease or disease in our body.
Mhm.
Mhm.
We think
So-
it's our bodies that are getting sick. We haven't, even though we hear it 1,000 times, or a lot of us do, we don't say, "Oh, it is my mind that's creating the disease or dis-ease." We don't make that connection. Haven't yet for most of us.
And yet, if we did, then we could do exactly what you had said you had done for yourself with hypnosis, that we could change that belief and literally cure ourselves, which is why there are times when people go in for a diagnosis and the diagnosis is made and they'll go in another time and there's no diagnosis at all.
Right.
So it's interesting how moment to moment we create disease or wellness within our bodies. And
Yep.
that's...
There's a lot more research being done on the whole idea that we're creating this reality with our health all the time. I mean, there's been studies on even doing that knee surgery. There was a doctor did a bunch of them, and he had some that they didn't really do the surgery on, and everybody had the same end results. Their knees got better because they all believed they had the surgery.
So, Chris Talia, by the end of this session today, what is it you want everyone to know, all our viewers? What is the message that's the most important takeaway from our time together today?
Well, Rosie, I think that the key here is
We usually ask this at the end.
I know, but I just wanted to. I was curious.
That's hilarious.
I want to know.
It is going to be a short show.
I got it ended 2 seconds ago, 2 minutes into the show. But, because there's so much to talk about. It's like, what is it that we really, really want to talk about from the beginning, and then branch off.
Well,
That was
I really think the key here is to get people to awaken to the fact that we really can change our health just by the way we think. And that, that can be positive or negative, as we started off with, It really comes down to, I think if we all started, I don't know what's the word, but kind of learning how to monitor and manage what our thinking is all the time, that we would all just be a whole lot healthier and happier.
Yeah.
And it comes down to personal responsibility, and unfortunately, people have a lot of resistance to that, when in fact it's so powerful,
Yes.
to tap into that. So, yeah.
There's a statistic that says that 70% of our thoughts are negative in nature.
But we don't start out that way. And in fact, in many ways, it seems kind of absurd, because our nature truly is to be in a state of well-being.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we come into the world, and that is our God-given birthright, to be in a place of well-being. So
I absolutely agree. Yeah.
So I don't think that that's our natural state, the negativity. I think that is what we've chosen to buy into.
That's right. Yeah, I totally agree. That we train ourselves, in a sense, to attend to an orientation that is negative in nature. What's not working. I mean, even the news and the media constantly barrages us with what's not good, what's wrong, the crime or economy or politics or whatever it is. The negativity that we allow into and we expose ourselves to is so it's damaging.
What I find to be interesting too is that we people are not very interested in us when we're well. So when we're doing great, people really don't want to hear about it. But when we're ill, we get a lot of attention, and I think that people begin to feel that state of being is the state of being that they need to maintain in order to maintain a lot of their relationships.
Yes, yes.
I think that's a very good point, Jamie, because I think we don't realize that we're doing that. But yeah, it's kind of that way to get that attention that we're not getting otherwise.
I
Yes.
don't want to fit into that at all. It's like, do you think part of it is that people people feel that they can hang out with people that that are taking 10, 15, 20 pills a day. Is that easier, like collaborating? Look at all the stuff that I have to take in order to make it until tomorrow. I mean, I don't even want to have that conversation. I don't want to be near it.
But if you think about how people connect and you just step back and listen, most people are having those conversations with each other as their point of connection.
Yes.
So, and it's everywhere. It's very rare that you hear people talking about how well they feel and how great they feel and how wonderful their life is, because most people aren't interested in that.
It's like that's not interesting.
Well, it's not interesting enough. There's no drama. There's not much to talk about there.
That's right.
It's a pretty quick conversation. So.
Well, that's interesting. Well, but having fun, like what we're doing right now, being joyful, being interested in what's possible, I think is much more interesting than talk about. Right. So where are you hurting today? What's going on? Why didn't you go to work today?
But there's also, I mean, there's an element of keeping everyone where they are, the homeostasis, if you will, or I attended a meeting of individuals who were the intention was to lose weight, and what occurred in this meeting was they were all working to not gain weight because the other people would feel bad or worse, or they might be excluded from, if they actually lost weight, they would then have to leave the group, if you will. And so there was this dynamic that was fascinating of people saying things but not talking too encouragingly about their own process because it would diminish somebody else's process. So it was fascinating to watch that process of keeping, I don't want to, if I gain too much, if I lose too much weight, then Mary Jane will feel sad or upset because she hasn't lost more, and that whole dynamic is huge in our society.
Well,
so there is this show on commercial television where the actual coach is gonna go and gain 40, 50, 60, or 100 pounds to be equal with the person that's coming in. So that they can feel equal, and then so this is how the coach. I can't even talk about this. This is just insane. This is insane.
But it is insane. But what Rosie is talking about makes a lot of sense, because you go to any of these support groups that are supporting illness, no one's getting better because everyone's talking about their illness. Right. It's so counterintuitive. There is no way for you to create wellness when you're constantly focused on illness.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, I lost the weight I lost, not because I wanted to lose the weight. I wanted to be healthy, and I wanted to feel good. Imagine this, Jamie, after the years that you've been talking about feeling good. I and I told you this before on the shows, that I finally got it, what you meant about feeling good. What else is there?
I'm very passionate about feeling good.
Yeah.
So
I am on your bandwagon. I want to feel good all the time. What else is there?
Okay, but go ahead.
Go ahead. If you think about it, all of our media is filling us, though, with all the negative. They're focusing us always on all the problems that are out there, and that's part of our biggest problem. So many people are watching the media, and that's what we keep focusing on. And I don't watch the media anymore for that reason. I watch things like Conscious Media TV and things like that. I don't want to be watching the regular television. You listen to, as an example, the last time I turned the TV on, I heard all these drugs, and then I hear all the side effects. Why would I ever take the thing? But millions of people are taking it, and they're watching the TV. So they're actually being entrained by the TV. They're literally, the brain is being entrained to need that drug, even though there's all these side effects listed right out there in their face.
But the other thing is that people have choices, because now there are so many choices, and you hope that people can start to tune inward and navigate from within and gravitate to those things that feel good to them. But some people don't even know how that feels. So, that I think that's where the learning begins. First, the people know that they have the option, and then to ask people to tap into something that does feel good. I mean, that could be anything, and that's difficult for someone to come up with.
And the idea of choosing to self-empower, to choose in right relationship to self is also very challenging, because we go against doctors, we go against media, we go against friends or family that says you should do it differently. You should do it according to the instructions, where it's like, no, that doesn't work for me. Right. So for us to think for ourselves, to empower ourselves to choose what's right for us, is very challenging in a consensus reality that's so ingrained the way that we have been, and trained us to think fearfully for ourselves.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point too of the whole support system. Everybody else is telling us what we should be doing, and that we should be listening to the doctor and so on. And personally, I think we should be listening inside. We have a lot more information.
Based on what are they telling us? Based on how do these people have become experts? Like, how do they know who we really are? Only we know who we are.
Right.
They don't know. They only know who they are. Since when anybody has become an expert on who somebody is other than themselves?
This is true, but when you go to a physician for a diagnosis, all they can do is provide information that they have, and that's what a doctor's role is. So if you choose to go to a shaman or a naturopath, or you will get a different source of information, and that source will probably lead you to look from the inside out. Mm-hmm. So, it really depends where you go, and then the information that you're fed back.
And don't you go normally based on what you believe?
Yes, you do.
Let's talk about beliefs then, because that's a place where we can actually maybe shed some light on how people could maybe believe, quote unquote, that there is something else possible or something else available. Because what's a belief, really?
It's just a thought that you think over and over and over. That's it. That's all belief is.
Until you hook.
Until you have disease.
Or health.
Or wellness.
Until you have manifested what you believe, right?
That's right.
That's correct. That's really true. So people get to choose. Do you want to think positively and think of yourself as healthy all the time, or do you want to think that you're sick all the time, or do you want to believe that whatever the doctor says, no matter what, you're not going to question it because they were trained? And I like to say the MD doesn't stand for medical deity. But for most of us, most of the people I know think that it does almost. I'm sure if you joke about it that way, they'd get it. But I still don't think they question most of the time. Most of us give up our power to the medical community because we think they're so trained without ever questioning what they're telling us. I've been fired by 2 doctors, okay?
Okay, so I got to tell you about this corporate meeting I had the other day. So we had this person come in because we have corporate health insurance. So this person came in from a place called, okay, I'm going to do it. I'll do a commercial for him. I don't care. Aflac!
Nice one.
And she was telling me how I can make like $54 or $60 worth of monthly payments, and then there's all these monies that they were going to send me if I'm hospitalized, and if I get monies that they can send me to replace my paychecks, and the list goes on and on and on. And I just looked at her and I said, you know what? There's a whole belief system that I have that is not congruent with anything that you said to me so far. Not that there's anything wrong with what you said. It just doesn't apply to me because I don't live based on I'm going to get sick and then I need money to get well. That's not how I live. I believe that I am healthy, and all there is health. So I'm not going to need to go to the hospital, and I'm not going to need my paycheck be replaced. So I have no need to spend $60 a month to get something that I'm never going to use. And she was like, she says, nobody has ever said this. She said, I've been doing this for like 6 years, and all I've gotten so far is people just keep signing up.
Well, and that's part of the fear. You know, I think that people are fearful that they are going to get sick, and they're anticipating it, and there you have it. They get sick. So, yeah, it's an interesting conversation.
Yes, you're saying that the belief system, we don't question the belief about illness or disease or aging or all of this. You know, it's like, of course you need insurance for when you get older and you're going to be hospitalized and you're going to be, you know, put into senior care or whatever that is. It's like, that's the belief system that we are entrained.
That's not happening to me.
Right.
No, it's not happening to me.
Senior care.
Yeah, it's not part of my orientation either.
I'm never going to be even senior, Rosie.
There you go. I believe that, and you don't have to. Steve, you don't have to be.
Senior toe.
That's right.
You don't have to be.
No, I totally agree. I'm on the same page with you. I don't prescribe to the other orientation of have to take care of my time when I'll be ill, because I don't see that I will. All I'm doing is continuing to work myself to get healthier and healthier and more vital and thriving every day. That's my intention. That's where my orientation is to see what's limiting, where I'm limited in my belief system, which keeps me from being even potentially more healthy.
You know, I was working recently with a family, and the parents were having a very difficult time with each other, and the 3.5-year-old child sensed that, and in order to keep the family intact, she got very ill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that she could have the parents come together to resolve the issues around her illness.
Yes.
And it was just fascinating as the outsider to watch this occur and to try to shed some light on what was happening. And it is so interesting how intuitive children are and how they will sacrifice themselves and put themselves almost in harm in order to do things like keep in a family unit together.
Yes.
Right.
So it starts very young.
Yep. Yep.
It
Yes.
really does. Yeah, it is. And then of course the kids can have help in some ways like that. In a weird way, they help by getting themselves sick to try to repair a family. It's just one of those things again where they're getting the attention in a way. It gets back to that comment earlier about how being sick can get you attention too.
So yeah, it's
So I'm becoming more and more curious these days about, because this is another thing that I'm feeling that it's a way that we limit ourselves, which is we only, and it comes back to belief, that we only believe the things that we can see, touch, feel, smell, all the five senses business. And I am in a place now in my life and maybe in my evolution that I am believing and trusting less and less and less of that. Because what I'm noticing is that if I continue to give myself to all that stuff, that I'm only going to believe what I see, feel, taste, hear, things really slow down in my life and things don't change that much.
Right.
Does that make sense? I keep recreating
yes.
what I did yesterday.
Right.
And it's really, really boring. I'm not interested in doing that. So I am so much more open now to what's possible beyond our five senses. So if any one of you have anything to contribute there, I definitely would like to go into that a little bit because I think it needs to be more and more talked about these days. So I think one of the things that perhaps, Chris Talia, you enjoy is distance healing. It's something that, and there's all these people that go, and this is how I changed my mind about this. So in order for me for something to be believable or possible, that's probably a better word, I am now thinking of it that I don't have to see it, touch it, to believe that it's real. It's real before even all of that, because I can feel it, and I have this intuition that it's coming to me. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, the intuition is so powerful when we pay attention. The big question is how many people actually take time to pay attention, and even when they notice it, do they actually follow it?
Yeah.
And
the two things I like is the statement, believing is seeing. So that if there's, it's a great experiment to create by believing in something different. If it's rather than seeing is believing, it's like, what do I really want to begin to cultivate or manifest through my belief system, and taking that on as an experiment as opposed to taking it on as rote. And the other thing I was going to say is, so many people, at least on Sundays, pray. And when there's trauma or illness or a bad situation, we go to what we cannot see for support. Mm-hmm. We go to the divine, to the universe, to God through prayer. And obviously healing, long distance healing is prayer in one form. But there's that dichotomy of, Sundays I pray, but I forget that that space of belief and faith is not what I carry necessarily throughout my day or throughout my week, and it gets left behind for the consensus reality of believing what you see. So that's just.
So I know something else I wanted to say about this is that I feel that it's in my way, like continuously living my life in a way that I just only going to believe what I see, what I feel, what I touch. It's in my way anymore. Does that ring true with you?
Yes.
Yes,
it's
in my way.
You have an expanded reality, which is wonderful. Mm-hmm. And you can't tap into expanded reality if you only are looking at what you can see and touch and taste and hear. So
and I so much see this in corporate America, because they keep talking about every day. They keep talking. It's like they on this bandwagon of keep talking about the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. It's like, and I don't know how to stop it, because they have a huge momentum going on, and it's always the same stuff. Every day, same stuff, and it's like, okay, so do we wonder that every day we create the same stuff? We talk about the same stuff every day.
Right. When I was in the corporate world, and I left that a long time ago, because I couldn't stand that, because it seemed like there was just that whole repetitive thing all the time, always focused on all the things that were going wrong, all the things we could complain about, and so on. And I finally decided at one point in the corporate world, I'd go out to lunch alone, and finally I found some positive thinking people that wanted to do that with me. But at first, I was just like, okay, I was going out to lunch alone because I just couldn't stand it anymore. It just gets so old and I don't know, just negative. What else to say? And we get caught up in it, though, and it becomes our world. And until we decide to break away and make a difference, that's exactly what we keep creating, that same repetitive thing over and over. As they say, history repeats itself, at least until you decide to change what history is.
That's right.
And, sometimes it is disease that sits us down. The universe gives us an opportunity to reevaluate. Sometimes we have to become so ill, and we clearly have gotten ourselves there through our thoughts. Mm-hmm. And even at that point, people are not open to it reevaluating. So it's, we have endless blessings and endless opportunities, and then what we choose to do with them, I don't know. I guess that's an individual decision. But yes, we could certainly be a culture of very healthy people all the time.
Mm-hmm. You know, I know people that think, I think of them as very positive people a lot of times that get caught up, though, in some of the conspiracy things. Like, as an example, I see people get all upset with, what is it called, chemtrails, and they go on about how they're damaging their breathing and their health. Yet these are people that eat organic and think positive a lot of times, and then they'll be complaining about that stuff. And my joke with them is, you know what, I'm the one that doesn't have any breathing problems, and you know what, I think they're painting pretty things in the sky, and and that's how I think of them. Oh, look at the pretty clouds they're creating in the sky, and I don't look at it from that perspective, and they laugh at me, but then I laugh at them because I'm the one that's healthy, and they're the ones that have taken all their beliefs on. So we have the power to literally change even things like that. If what they say is happening, that they're dumping crap on us, we still have a power to change the belief that that's going to hurt us.
Exactly.
I really, truly believe
And it's
that.
interesting because, you know, it doesn't hurt all people. It hurts the people that believe they're being hurt, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
It is interesting.
It really
Well, that's
is.
just the way it works. We can just say that, can we? That's the way it works.
It really
What
is the way
we're
it works.
thinking about is that's how powerful we are. We create it.
Right.
Well,
So-
the thing that I don't get is why people don't want that power. I mean, it's incredible to me. It would be like handing somebody $1 billion and saying, like, you have this power
Wait,
and
they
freedom
already
to create anything you want.
Yeah, it's funny. They already are using the power. They already use it. They're just using it for the wrong thing.
But I don't think they understand that they have the power. I don't even, most people feel like they're victims to things like chemical companies and, you know, aerosols and non-organic foods, GMOs. I mean, there's a zillion things that people feel they're victim to. And they don't really believe that they have any personal power. So it's mind-boggling to me.
A client of mine said, Jamie, because we were distinguishing why, you know, she was wanting friends who would be there for her and take care for her in a particular way. And when we were distinguishing and talking about it, she just kind of blurted out, I don't think she was even aware, but she said, it's too much responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's too much responsibility to care for myself. I want other people to change and do what I need them to do, so I don't have to be responsible for me. And I, you know, as she was saying it, I think the lights went on because she kind of laughed at the end. It was like, oh God, do I have some work to do here? But that place of, you know, we have, again, we've been trained that we'll be taken care of. You know, women will be taken care of by men will be taken care of by women. The corporate world will be taken care of by retirement or investors. All of those things, the government will take care of us if we take care of all of that. Caring is, you know, the enabling the codependency nature.
Look at how beautifully that's working.
That's right.
That really turned out, didn't it?
But that's the model. That's the model that we have. Is that as opposed to, boy, you know, my life feels awful, and I'm the only one that can make it a difference. I'm the only one that will empower the situation to change. I'm the only one. And but it's very scary really scary for people, I think, to really acknowledge that sense of aloneness and isolation, because I think all of us, in terms of existing, that we have that fear of, I'm alone in this, and it's pretty scary, and it's rather easier just to keep hoping and wishing that somebody out there is going to come along and, you know, sell me insurance or give me the right medicines so that I'll stay healthy, that kind of thing. It's very fear-based, and it's very tentative, holding it all together. Like you say, you know, it's this is how well it's working.
But, you know, if people would just choose to be a victim and say, I'm choosing it, that's a choice in itself. And
Beautiful.
I think that would be far healthier, you know, to say, this is what feels better to me, to be a victim. And then you go, okay, you know, I get it. And that you're making that choice for yourself.
Yes.
So to acknowledge where you're at and knowing that somehow it's a choice you're making, and whatever it is. I think that would be a great step.
I totally agree.
I agree that's a great step. I think most people are afraid to admit that they could possibly have created where they're at today, though. I think that's part of the problem. Who wants to admit that they've screwed up all this time? And for a lot of people, that's what they think. If they have to admit that they created this reality that they have today, how could that be? I would never have chosen that. I hear people say that all the time. I would never have chosen this. And yet they did in their own way.
Yes.
It's kind of like we choose our parents. I believe that we do.
I do too.
And most people would say that's just not possible. I would never have made that choice. And yet I think we do. We make that choice.
Yes.
I agree with you, Jamie. I totally get that too. I totally am there.
And I think we can, as coaches and therapists and people who support the evolution of consciousness, we can actually, we can reframe that sense of there must be something wrong with me that I would create this life to, wow, what a brilliant individual you are to bring yourself through the evolution of what you've gone through, because most of us have gone through quite a bit of challenges. And it's like, wow, look at how brilliant you are, that you've created all of this in order to bring you here now where you're maybe more ready to do some healing and move yourself to another level of thriving. And I just love it when people kind of don't get how brilliant they are in creating, much like you're saying, the three-year-old that says, here's a way that I can keep my family together.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just brilliant. It's brilliant.
Right.
They're brilliant. We're brilliant. And it's if we could see that, I think we could tap into another level of reality beyond fear, the fear of the consensus reality. We just go, hey, I got something here that's brought me this far. It's going to take me a little bit further, I'm sure. So. We're brilliant.
Do you think that this has something to do with our willingness to create something new? Like there has to be this. Well, I don't know if there has to be. I can only speak for myself. So when I was diagnosed with my illness, I immediately said, okay, so I am not giving into this. I will heal myself. I just made that commitment, and I basically said, whatever it takes, I don't care what it takes, I'll do it.
Right.
And it took me 2 years, but I did it, and you guys kind of seen it.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
This show has been around for 4 years, and this only goes back 2 years ago. So, and it's been an amazing journey because it woke me up to even more deeper way of seeing possibility and seeing myself and seeing what's possible, that I can really create anything that I want, and it's what I am into right now, and I'm still working on this to really acknowledge to myself that I can create anything I want, and now I'm ready to figure out how to tune into that energy that I can really ask and receive. Where did that come from? Is this in the Bible that you ask and you shall receive? Is it in the Bible?
I think it's a universal law.
Or it's a universal law. Okay.
Yeah.
But how simple that is, right? And I really get. It's so simple, but it's so deep that all you have to do is ask, and it shall be given.
Right.
All you have to do is willing to receive.
I was also diagnosed with something. I was diagnosed with severe mercury poisoning a few years ago, and my doctors were so concerned about me, and I said, don't worry about it, I got it. And I knew exactly what I needed to do for myself, and within 2 years, completely, everything's perfect. And my doctor said, we have no idea how you did this, and it's unbelievable, and we don't want to know. but like it's good for you. Like literally whatever
We
you've
don't
done.
want to know.
We do not want to know, but you're perfect. Everything's fine. I thought to myself, great, because I'm not really interested in telling you, but it was so interesting. There was not the sense of like, wow, how did this happen? How did you help yourself? What did you do for yourself? It was more like you didn't do any of the things that we strongly suggested, and however you got here, no, we're not interested in knowing. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I knew immediately what I needed to do for myself, and it was so, contrary to what they were suggesting. And yeah, it was brilliant. So,
Yep. Awesome.
yeah.
Right.
A question for Steve. Steve, what was the thought? So you were diagnosed, and at that moment that you decided that you're going to heal yourself, what was the belief or the thought that shifted it from, let's say, a disease to that path to healing? What was the belief or the thought that shifted that for you, if any?
Well, if I recall, I think I can recall, it was the fact that I know that I didn't feel any fear, and I wasn't scared. What I felt is, wow, this is interesting. This is how ignorant I've been, because I realized that I created it. And look at me. I've been doing this network for how long now? I'm beginning to be tired of talking about it. And I said, I actually made this happen. That I am on the. Isn't this an interesting? And this is not a coincidence. Isn't it interesting that here I am for 12 years? I'm working on this consciousness network, and it didn't exactly start out that way, but it morphed into this. And then I am, as the leader of this network, becomes completely ignorant, like the people that sometimes we talk about, that they're just not getting it and they're just not awake. Well, I wasn't getting it. I wasn't awake because I made myself so ill and I didn't even know it.
Right.
I discovered it by accident. Actually, my daughter discovered it by accident. That she checked my blood sugar, because every time she gets pregnant, she has to check her blood sugar because she has a little problem with her blood sugar when she gets pregnant. And so both times she's been pregnant, she had to monitor it and check it every day. And she just happened to check it just for fun, just for kicks. And my blood sugar was like almost 400. and so it was discovered, and it's not even, I said the wrong word. It was an accident. It was exactly meant to be that way. But then to realize that here I am doing this consciousness network thing, and I'm not being really conscious about my own health, and I'm not really tuned into myself. So what I learned there is that, hey, wait a minute. It took this drastic thingy, whatever you want to call it. It's a major
Event.
Life interruption.
Yes.
It took that to get my attention, to go, well, okay, so this is how powerful I am. I can create this, and this is really bad. So why don't I just undo it? Because if I can create this, I can undo it. So that's what came to me. That
Awesome.
moment when you asked me, I said, if I created it, I can uncreate it, and that's what I'm going to do.
And we
now
actually
that I
had a
did
show
that,
on it. We had a show about it when
Yeah.
you were
and I
diagnosed.
looked at shows back then when we
So,
started.
yeah.
We started this network. I look sometimes, time to time, I go back and look, and not often. But I did go back and look, and I said, "Oh my God, that was me! You gotta be kidding me!" I was like 252. I waited that much, and
Wow.
I completely ignored it. It's not like I ignored it. That's not even the right word.
Well,
I
you
knew
weren't
that I was
aware.
overweight.
You
I
weren't
knew that
aware.
I was overweight, but I basically said to myself, well, but that's okay because I'm not ready to do anything about it. So I'll just have to just live like this and keep talking about consciousness, and at some point it will go away. not go away. But
it's so great because as we're talking, it's like we talk about them out there, and it's like what you were saying, I think, Jamie.
I'm going through the same stuff everybody else is going. I'm no different than the general public. I just want everybody to know that. That's why I share this stuff, because it's like I don't want anybody to feel that I'm talking down to them, because I'm not. I am as human as anybody else, and I make the same mistakes as most everybody else does, or maybe even bigger ones or better ones. But I feel that that's the juice. That's the juice in life. It was an opportunity for me to get to know myself much deeper than I have, and look at what it took. And I don't really care what it takes.
Yeah.
And now I am having like I'm thinking about things like oh yeah, you're gonna love this. So recently I've been really there is something going on with me about my youth. Like I'm watching movies about young people, that what a life I had when I was young, and I'm getting connected to like being loving and being really young, and what a wonderful time. And and I'm no longer that young, but I'm feeling the same things. Do you get it?
Yes.
I'm feeling the same feelings. And it doesn't matter how old I am. It really doesn't matter. And
that's right.
And I'm only a calendar anyway.
Yeah, and I'm not putting my attention on anybody to feel this way. I am putting it on me. And I can generate the same feelings I feel being in love. And there is nobody in front of me other than myself. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yes.
It's absolutely fantastic. It's like I am amazed that this is all possible.
It only matters in a sense when we look in the mirror. If we don't look in the mirror, I'm 28. I'm 28 and having a great time. I was out there with my chainsaw this weekend. It's like I'm 64 years old with a little chainsaw going and hauling wood and stuff. It's like if I look in the mirror, I go, what the? But if I don't look in the mirror,
people, today's very different, because you can't even tell how old people are anymore. You really can't. And people don't, you can't even pinpoint what an age is. It doesn't even mean anything anymore. People are living into their hundreds and doing amazing things. So I don't, it's just not as relevant as it was, I don't know, even 20 years ago.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Well,
we have a choice of what we want to believe about our age, right?
Say that again, Chris Talia.
I said we all have a choice about what we want to believe about our age.
Yeah.
When I look in the mirror, I pretend that I look like I'm 18.
And if you feel 18, that's what you're projecting. And so that's what people are picking up on, because I think we also live in a very exciting time that, there is a lot of opportunity for people who are conscious and wanting to connect with other conscious people. That support is out there, where it really wasn't out there 20 years ago or even 10 years ago. So this is an amazing time that we're living in.
Right.
We have so much access to information, like you say, about shamanism or nutrition or whatever, chemtrails. It doesn't matter. We just can Google it, and we have access to pros and cons of everything, and it's so rich now compared to what we had earlier. Even the last 10 years has been such a dramatic shift in ability to receive information and have a question. Just you can get an answer so quickly to support your position or support your thinking about that. To allow a question and curiosity, which is so different. We didn't have access to, in a sense, curiosity allows us to Google, right? Or go to Pinterest or whatever, where we say, I wonder what that looks like, or I wonder what that's about. And we can explore that so much more quickly. And I think that's a perk in terms of shifting beliefs and perceptions, one way or the other.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to be complete about what I said, so here it is. It's coming. So I am not thinking about retirement. I'm not thinking about moving into an old people home.
Okay.
I'm not thinking about, like being with these old guys playing chess. I don't talk. I don't think about any of that stuff. What I think, or playing golf, what I think about is how I felt when I was 20, and I think about and I feel the energy of love for myself and for others, and connection. I am more about connecting now than I have ever been before. So that's what I think about, and it doesn't really mean anything about how old I am.
Right. It's true. It doesn't. No, it doesn't.
So there. Now I'm
So
complete.
there.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Well, I don't believe that we make any mistakes. I believe that there are outcomes and that there are no wrong outcomes and that we can change an outcome in a moment. So that's what I believe.
I'm right with you too. I totally
I'm
agree.
right with you as well. That is so true. The way you said that is perfect.
All right, so the conscious hour is almost over. So what else would we like to say to our viewers that will help them to use the power of their mind to heal themselves? Is there anything else that you feel that we untouched or left out for the moment, at least for this show? Uh-oh. Rosie had something to say about that.
I guess she did.
Okay. She's coming back.
There she is.
I meant to mute, and I just ended and said I accidentally. But
there you go.
I had
It's
a
all
cough.
right. It's all right.
Now, I think really the big key message, as far as I'm concerned, that I hope everybody listening actually got is that we have a choice here. We can choose to buy into negativity and predictions and all of that about our health, or we can choose to, just like you did, Steve, say, I'm gonna heal myself, and you can make that choice. And the minute you make that choice, the minute your mind has decided, that's the moment that you can absolutely do it. And as long as you're bought into you're not going to do it, that's what's going to happen. So,
Isn't it true, Chris Talia, that once you make that commitment, every cell in your body joins behind you to make that happen? Because that's how intelligent. That's
really
how
beautiful.
intelligent we are. Yeah.
It's a beautiful way to say it.
Yeah. I think that the message I would like people to get is that each of us has our own ability, our own knowingness. We have our own knowingness, and to trust that and defer it to no one. Just truly explore what that knowingness is for you, and defer to no one. Get support and coaching and therapy or whatever it is to help you and support you and empower you to empower yourself to live more in that thriving from your beliefs, not from somebody else's.
Right.
That's wonderful. And well-being is our birthright. It really is. So buy into that one. How about that?
Yeah, yeah.
I love it.
And it doesn't cost anything.
No, it doesn't.
Wow.
That's
you
good.
You ladies have been absolutely fantastic. I really enjoyed, I mean, truly, this has been so much fun. Every minute of it I enjoyed. So thank you so much for being who you are, all of you, especially our guest Chris Talia. Thank you for bringing this great theme. This is so relevant.
Yeah, thank you.
Extremely. This is extremely relevant because, you know, there's a drugstore at every corner these days, and they're building more. Please stop. Let's stop the madness. Okay? We can handle this. That's how intelligent we are. We can handle this on our own. We don't need skills. Okay, so you ladies have been absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. And for everybody out there, if you were touched, moved, and inspired by anything that any of us have said or did today, please continue to go to our YouTube channel. Keep watching this show and all the other shows that we have there. And make sure we now every month send out all kinds of social media stuff about which one of our shows ended up in the top 10 list, and when they do, there's a possibility that they go to public television, or they may go to one of these new social network that we will be joining sometime in the summer. So thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you next time. Have a great evening, and love you all.
Love
Bye-bye,
you.
you
Love you
guys.
too.
Nice to see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.